This is Tom, Product Evangelist for CentreStack. This is another episode of my Quick Start series for the CentreStack server, and today I'm going to talk about how to brand your tenant. Now, in a previous video, which will be linked above, you were shown how to brand the cluster admin portion of the server, where the cluster would have the name of the company in the tab. It would have the icon in the tab of your browser for that company, which represents the logo, and other graphics and things would be updated, including the copyright for that server. Now, what I want to show you is that when you add a tenant, like Delray Medical has been added here in this cluster, now that tenant also has the ability to modify their branding. This can be disabled by the cluster admin, but the default setting is to allow the branding, and so I'm going to show you how this tenant can modify their branding as well. So when the cluster has been branded, the tenant logs in, they see the same information, the same visuals, logos, etc. that the cluster admin sees and all of their users, but the tenant will probably want to brand their own company's logo and color and information into their portal. So this is pretty easy to do. First of all, I'm going to log in as the tenant admin. Now, as a tenant admin, I get access to the dashboard, and in there I can choose tenant branding. Now, this is very similar to branding the cluster in that the tabs are essentially the same, but I'm going to change a couple of things. First of all, I want you to see that this is what the tenant is going to see. I'll log in really quickly over here as well in another browser. Okay, so I'm logged in another browser. Now I'm just going to log out so that we can see what that user will see when they log in. So we'll refresh. This is what they're looking at. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some branding updates, and I'll move through this as quickly as I can so I can keep the video short. This will only take a couple of minutes. So here we go. Okay, first we need to change the product name. So we hit the edit button, and we're going to change this to, and I think I'd also like to change the user interface. We're going to go with red, and I'm going to change the copyright. And that's all I need to change under the General tab, so we'll apply that. Now if I go back out here and I hit refresh, you can see that the copyright has been updated, and this tab information has been updated as well. By the way, when you log into a browser and log back out, it will maintain the visual look of whatever tenant you logged into until you log in with a different tenant. So that's why I'm using this browser as a representation of the changes. So now we go to the web portal. I'm going to change this art here, and be aware that I am under tenant branding. If you do this under the default branding, then you'll change everyone. So let me hit the edit button, and now I need to use these numbers here as representations of the size of the images that I'm going to be adding here. These are PNGs that are recommended, and they can have transparent backgrounds. And there's the logo and the left page image, and I'm also in this one. Let me just cancel this for now. I'm also going to do a background image change so that we don't see the default background image for this tenant. Alright, so we'll hit edit, and now I'll start building the art, and I'm just going to fast forward through this process because this isn't a designer tutorial, and at the end I will add all the images, and then I'll start talking again, and we'll discuss the changes. Okay? Now I'll pause on this one for a moment. This is a large image, so you just need to be careful about how you save this one in particular. This is a full 1920 by 1080 image for full screen, high def, and it's 2.41 meg in size, so, or 2.42. So what we need to do is probably go to like a JPEG low or maybe a JPEG medium, which would be a better choice for this. And you can see that doesn't break down too much, and it brings our size down to 137, 138K. So obviously that would load a lot faster, so it's a better choice to use JPEG for really large images, especially when the background does not need to be transparent. Okay, so I think we're done, and now I will quickly add all these bits of art here. So so we're going to go ahead and apply that. Alright, so now when I go back over here, not logged in since I logged out previously, let's hit refresh. So I want you to look like here, and then I want you to look here, here, and then the background image. Okay, here we go. Boom. So you can see that this creates a dramatically different look for the tenant than we would have for the cluster admin. And you could have one tenant, you could have 1,000 tenants. It doesn't matter, each one of them can have their own look. Alright, so I hope that was helpful and useful for you in this series, this quick start series, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.